Hey, did you hear? Bill Belichick lost his first college game. Man, he must have been focused on those. I'm just kidding, man. Hit social media for the stale jokes, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk some Cardinals football. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Hit that sub, hit that bell, send that like, and let's get right to it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. It's game week. Finally, real football returns this week, kicking off on Thursday night with the Eagles welcoming is a strong word when it comes to these two teams, but very strong word. But when it comes to the first game, yeah, Eagles welcome the Cowboys on Thursday night into Philadelphia. The reigning Super Bowl champs get their home game as the first one of the season, as they've earned. So that works out. Then Chiefs versus Chargers in Brazil on Friday night in Brazil. I get it. We're trying to globalize this game. Totally understand that. Trying to make it bigger. It's all about the money, get more reach, get more cash, and all that stuff. But it's kind of silly. Brazil don't care about football, y'all. There's no way. You guys are kidding me. That's one of the biggest countries in the world for soccer. We're gonna throw football in there. Hey, you know what? As long as the Cardinals aren't the ones going out there flying, I don't even care. All right. But again, Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday night. But that means our Cardinals will take flight to New Orleans to face the Saints this Sunday. So game kicks off at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This week we'll break down everything that we expect on different parts of the team against them Saints, starting off today with this offense. What should we expect? It's an easy place to start, right? Talking about the offense is what we want to see. We need points to win, obviously. So Kyler Murray needs to get back to mixing it up, though, in my opinion. K1 is at his best when he's able to threaten the defense with his legs, forcing them to pay more attention to him, especially if he can do it early on. Now, that's going to open up passing lanes, right? Especially in close, as he's able to get the ball out quickly. That means big time opportunities for Trey McBride, James Conner, and Trey Benson out of the backfield. The slot receivers, Greg Dortch likes to get in there real close, and he can get those 5 yards and take off running type of plays. So I think that'll be big for them if he's able to get his legs going. Once he's able to poke holes in that defense, though, it's going to open up the receivers on the outside as well for the big plays. But Kyler needs to quit hesitating so much. He's always seemed to just be a tad slow on his reads, right? But 7 years into his career, two with Jonathan Gannon as head coach, he's at the point where he should have a handle on this offense. And if that O-line keeps Kyler upright and alive, we could be looking at a big game from him this Sunday. He'll be battling against the likes of Cam Jordan, the Saints staple and future Hall of Famer, of course. And that defensive line with Chase Young, Devon Gachot, and Brian Breesy. But that being said, there's talk around the league that might be the worst defensive line in the league. I guess we'll find out. Marvin Harrison Jr. can also, can he and Kyler get on the same page? I think this is the game where they show that they've got that chemistry on point, or at least develop it to even a higher level. Because Marshawn Lattimore is no longer a Saint. They traded him to the Commanders last November for, I think it was like a third, a fourth, and a sixth round pick. So not a terrible haul if you draft correctly, but still kind of wild that a guy like that gets sent out like that. MHJ is going to be battling against the likes of Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama and Alontae Taylor and just a couple kind of, we call them, little stickers, right? Little band-aids for that defense. The run game's going to kick things off with James Conner, Trey Benson, with this Saints D-line rather weak, and this offensive line's ready to rock. So I'm expecting plenty of run plays to open up the playbook for the pass game. And as long as we can sustain drives, right, convert third downs, keep their offense off the field, this game should be a nice kickoff to the season. And again, for the love of God, K1, you need to get rid of the ball on time. Don't hold it so long, because turnovers and stalled drives will exhaust our defense. And then this is going to be a game. And come on, y'all. Come on. Spencer Rattler's our starter. Okay? Come on now. Tomorrow, we'll talk some defense. Of course, a lot of Spencer Rattler talking that. But yeah, in terms of this game, like the offense should be able to use this game as like the springboard into rhythm for the rest of the season, in my opinion. So there you go. All right. The captains. Jonathan Gannon revealed the captains when talking to the media the other day, and they were voted on by the team. So who are the captains? Kyler Murray, James Conner, Hijalta Froholt, Calais Campbell, Buda Baker, Mac Wilson, and Joey Blount. So that's 3 offense, 3 defense, and a special teams captain. So it's pretty cool to see Campbell still, get in there as a captain his first season back with the Arizona Cardinals. The players respect the veterans, but Campbell's been known to be a leader from most of his part of the first part, a big first part of his run here. Before he ended up taking off, with stops in, I think, Baltimore and Miami, and now coming back, it's good to see the veteran D lineman get that respect from the team, and it means he's going to be the guy, a voice in that locker room on that line to keep, to get things on point. Keep things on point. Keep it on track, and keep this somewhat young defense fully focused. So it's gonna be something fun to watch, honestly, to see Calais Campbell back in there, not just as a player, but as a leader on that team. And getting voted as captain is the first step. And Kyler Murray, all this talk that Kyler doesn't love football, or his team secretly hate him, and why did they keep voting him as captain? It's not his first time. It's not even his second time. He's been captain for years now, right? Come on, folks. These are grown men. They're not going to follow a weak leader. For all his faults, his leadership has clearly been improving year after year. We've seen examples of it, and small things, but how he treats his offensive line, to being on the sidelines in preseason games, giving guys water. He's preseason, and he's in in like at least half of his gear, right? No pads or anything, but at least half of his gear out there with the guys. He even actually puts on his eye black sometimes. It's kind of funny, but out there with his guys, handing out water, making sure the young guys, get some coaching, a little bit of advice, a little bit of vet savvy. So it's the small things, folks. It's the small things, especially with Kyler Murray and all the grief he gets for being Kyler Murray. It's important for him to keep making those moves up, especially leadership wise, because the leadership starts with the quarterback. It always has. This is the quarterback run league, and leadership's a part of that as well. All right, Jacoby Myers. Is he a realistic trade? Look, there's a name out there, Jacoby Myers. Looking to see his way out of a bad situation. What situation we're talking about? The Las Vegas Raiders. We've seen them lose players when they realize the organization they've joined is a perpetual, repeated rebuild with very little success in that time period. These are not your grandpa's just win baby Raiders. This should be the cool place to be, but what, WTF Raiders, right? I mean, they just moved to Vegas. You would think teams, players would be trying to go there. After a while, that all kind of fades away. Ask anybody that lives in Vegas. They hate the Strip after a while, right? So, jokes aside, Devontae Adams saw his way out of that dumpster fire, spent the season, a sad one, with the Jets before heading off to the LA Rams, what seems to be the last part of his career, should he last there. Another Raider wants out in his position of need for the Arizona Cardinals. Raiders receiver Jacoby Myers wants out of Las Vegas as he heads into the final year of his contract. After spending the first 3 seasons of his career with the Patriots, man, imagine going to the New England Patriots right after Tom Brady leaves. Like, damn, you missed out on the ring, bro. Anyway, he made the move to the Raiders after that last third year for a 3-year, $33 million deal. Now, he's not happy with that last final year. Probably not happy with the fact that he hasn't even gotten an extension offered to him, or at least one that he likes. So that's definitely going to be a problem. But let's look at the football part of it. In his first season with the Raiders, he caught 71 balls for 807 yards and 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns with Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G as his quarterback, Aiden O'Connell as his quarterback, and Brian Hoyer getting in and having to fire the ball to him quite a few times here. Not amazing stats other than the 8 touchdowns, but he improved last year in a way. 87 catches, 1,027 yards, and 4 scores. Now, again, that's down from touchdown-wise, down from the season before, but he looked good. He looked really good. First 1,000-yard season of his career. And it came with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Desmond Ridder throwing them the ball. It's not bad for having 3 very subpar quarterbacks. So why does it make sense for the Cardinals? He won't be too expensive, right? In terms of trading for him, I don't think. Because the longer this goes and the louder he gets, he's disgruntled. He wants to trade. He's requested one. I know the Raiders are talking about, I don't know if we're going to do that. But it's going to lower the value, right? What they can ask for him, because teams are going to be like, look, you can get something for him, right? Or you may have to use your franchise tag next year if you really want to be petty and hold on to him, or you're going to lose him for nothing, right? And I think the Raiders, where they are now, don't really want to lose him for nothing. You want to get something and keep building that team up, because let's just be real, man. That outside of Max Crosby and a handful of pieces here and there, it's not the place to be. So I'm kind of surprised Max Crosby's still on that team. Maybe we should look at Max Crosby. I wonder if he's available, right? Like, Max Crosby seems to be like the kind of guy that doesn't really want to throw that out there that he wants out. But maybe that's the look. Maybe that's the next big J.J. Watt type of jump the Cardinals get. Now, we've definitely developed our defensive line. So, if the line, performs like we expect it to this year, might not need to. But it's nice to dream. So, there it is. Now, paying Jacoby Myers, it's going to take some work, right? His cap hit this season is about $14 million, and an extension would likely cost quite a bit. But you have to weigh the financials there, and that's going to be a little tricky. But I think it can be done. So there you go. Now the Raiders have thus far refused to trade him, which is kind of funny. But if you're Monty Austin for it and you can make this trade happen, it'd be huge for the Cardinal offense. He's still young. He can definitely ball out, especially in the red zone. I mean, 8 touchdowns, right? And the 2023, 8 touchdowns. A lot of those were pretty close in the red zone. He'd be a huge help for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride in there, right? Just opening things up for the entire offense. And hey, we can only hope that we make a move here and improve this team as well. But first test this Sunday in New Orleans against the Saints. And again, it's not a game that I expect to be it shouldn't on paper be too crazy difficult or anything for the Cardinals. But it is our cardiac Cardinals. Like, they never make things easy. So there you go. No hot take today, folks. I'm Eddie Law. This has been the Cardinals Daily Show. Hit that sub, hit that bell, hit the like, and leave a comment. And we'll see you tomorrow. All right? Let's get to it. Tomorrow we talk defense. Go Cardinals.